used to freeze every single time I sat down at the piano. I wanted to make beautiful music, but I just didn't know how to do that, even though I had taken piano lessons for years and could read really complicated things on paper. This 4-note pattern that I learned from my right hand changed the game for me. I can't wait to show you what that pattern is. If you stick with me to the end of this video, not only will you be playing this 4-note pattern in your right hand, but you will be combining both hands and learn an awesome chord progression in the key of A major at the same time. Hi, my name's Rebecca and welcome to my piano studio. I'm so excited that you're here. I have a passion for teaching beginners how to sit down at the piano and make beautiful music every single time they play the piano. So it's not just about learning to read music, which is an important skill that you need to be working on. However, if you don't know how to read music yet or you're still working on that, this is a great place to start. Piano improvisation is going to change the game for you with playing the piano. If you learned something in this video, make sure that you hit the subscribe button, hit the bell icon so you know every single time I upload a new video. Now come over to the piano. I'd love to show you this chord progression in the key of A major and this awesome trick for your right hand.
So if you're a beginner, you're probably very used to playing in the key of C major, which means all of the white notes between C and C. It's a great place for beginners to start because we don't have to worry about any of the black notes. But today we're going to actually begin in a new key, which is starting on A. So this is played between A and A. And just a reminder of what a sharp is, first of all. A sharp is when you have a note like C, and instead of playing that note, you're going to play one note directly to the right of it, which in this case happens to be a black note. So I'm going to give you 3 notes that we're not going to play, and we're going to play the sharp instead. The first one is an F. So instead of playing an F, you'll play the F sharp here. The second one is that C. Instead of playing a C, we play a C sharp. And then the third one is a G. So instead of a G, you'll play the G sharp. So you're going to be playing these 3 sharps here, the first in the set of 2, and then the first 2 in the set of 3 black notes, instead of these 3 notes. So instead of F, C, G, we play F sharp, C sharp, and G sharp. So now we're going to play all of the notes from A to A, remembering the sharps and to skip those 3 notes. So here we go. Let's start with just one finger and play the scale. C sharp, F sharp, G sharp, A. And then we come back down. And this is the key of A major. Now that we know the scale, and it's always very important to start with a scale because we are teaching our fingers and our ears which white notes and which black notes to start with, we're going to now build chords in the key of A major. So I'm going to start down here. This is middle C. I'm going to start at this A down here. And all we're doing is we are building triads in the key of A major. A triad is simply 3 notes that are stacked on top of one another to form a chord. So I'm going to show you how to form the first triad, and then we'll do all of the rest of the triads in the key of A. So in the key of A major, we start on the first note, which is A, and we go up 3. 1, 2, and 3 was our C sharp. So if we play A and C sharp together, and then we start at A again and go up 5 notes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we come to an E. Play all of those together, A, C sharp, E, and that is our first triad, or our number 1 chord in the key of A. If we build a chord on the second note, which is B, we have B, D, and F sharp, which is a B minor. That's our 2 chord. Our 3 chord is built on the third note of the scale. That's a C sharp, E, G sharp. That is a minor 3 or a C sharp minor. The 4th note is a D, F sharp, A, and that's a D major. Our 5th note is an E, E, G sharp, B, which is our major 5. Our 6 is built on the 6th note of the scale, which is an F sharp, A, C sharp, and that is an F sharp minor. Our 7th is a diminished chord built on the G sharp, B, and D. Listen to that. That always sounds really great. And then we're back to our 1 chord. Now that we know how to build the chords in the key of A major, we simply have to put them in an order to create our chord progression. So for our chord progression today, we're going to start with a 1 chord. It's always good to begin and end on the 1 chord because it teaches our ear that our song has begun and ended in that particular key. So we're going to start with an A. Then we're going to our number 4 chord, which we remember was built on the D, and that's a D major. So we're going from an A major to a D major. Then we're going to our minor 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This was the funny one that started on F sharp. So we have F sharp, A, C sharp. So we want to move our hands kind of up this way toward the board of the piano, which is here, so that we can reach that with our fingers. We have F sharp, A, C sharp. Then we're going to the 5 chord. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's our E major. We go back to our 4 chord, D major, and then we are back to 1. So we're going to do the whole thing in order now, but remember that chord progressions are automatically built on a loop. So you can go through this chord progression as many times as you want to, as long as you end on the A, and then it'll sound like our song has completed. But if you just wanted a short session, you could just do this chord progression 1 or 2 times. If you wanted to make it longer, you can do 5 or 6, as many as you are feeling in the moment. That is something that I love about piano improvisation. So let's do the whole thing in order now. We have an A to a D, F sharp minor, E, D, and then A. I always kind of keep a sticky note on the top of my piano. I write the chord progression down so that I don't really have to think about it. I mean, you absolutely can memorize it, but you don't need to do that. So just practice that chord progression in the triad form. And now I'm going to teach you the left-hand pattern that we're going to be using today, which is a representative chord pattern. I promise I'm going to get to the right hand trick that we have. But for right now, let's look at our left hand pattern that we're going to be doing for this entire chord progression. Now, I do this one a lot. It is my most favorite because it only is 3 notes. Now, if 3 notes are too much for you, you can always just do 2 notes and it will sound perfectly fine. So the first way that we do this, instead of being the triads all the time, we're going to make an octave between the A and the A. And then if you feel up to putting 1 more note down, you can use your 2 finger and put it down on the 5th. So if you remember from the beginning, we had a 3rd and then we had a 5th up from the bottom. That's where that E comes from. So we have an A, E, A. And then we go to our D chord, which is D, A, D. Then to our F sharp, we have F sharp, C sharp, F sharp. Then to our E, E, B, E. We go back to our D, and then to our A. Now, within this representative pattern, you can do several things. You can choose to play all of them together like I'm doing. You can just do the octave, or you can arpeggiate them. That simply means that you can play them one at a time. So arpeggiations can go from the bottom to the top, and you can hold them like that, or you can play one at a time without holding them. You can start in the middle and you can go to the bottom, or you can do something that I like to do. So in 3/4 time, I'll do 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and. In 4/4, I can do something like this: 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So there's many different patterns that you can do using this representative pattern. However, if you're just starting out, I recommend playing them all together with the fifth in the middle or just playing the octave. If playing with two hands is something that eludes you, we're going to be doing that immediately. However, we're not going to be intimidated by the fact that we're using both hands at the same time. We're getting our hands used to playing at the same time and also being coordinated enough to be doing different things with our fingers. So if you want an exercise that will help you coordinate your hands, check out this video. It's a good one for exercising the independence of the fingers and moving your hands along the scale. So we're going to immediately put our hands together, but here's how we're going to do this. So we're going to start by keeping our right hand in a 5-finger pattern. So we're going to have our 1 finger on A and then all of the rest of the notes of the scale up to 5. So we have A, B, C sharp, D, and E. And they're not going to move. We're going to play the notes individually, but you're not going to be moving your hands around quite yet. All right, now this is the first step for this 4-note pattern that is going to help you immensely in the right hand. So stick with me so that you can learn what this 4-note pattern is. So for right now, we're going to do a representative chord in the left hand. I'm going to use my sustain pedal, which is the right pedal. If you have one, you can work on that. It kind of makes everything flow together, sound a little ethereal. I think it sounds absolutely beautiful to do it that way. And what we're going to do is we're going to alternate our hands, doing a left hand and then right hand. So we're going to play 1 beat with our left hand and then 3 beats, any of those notes on the right hand side. So it can sound something like this. And then we're going to move our left hand chord to the D. Then to our F sharp, E, D, and then end on our 1. Already that sounded like a beautiful song. So try that a few times. Make sure that you understand the movement and how you are alternating between. And now we're going to put it together immediately. So now that we have done it alternating, we're now going to very slowly put this hands together the entire time. So only 1 note at a time, still not moving that right hand. We're only moving the chords with the left hand because we're coordinating moving both hands at the same time. So it can sound something like this. So always make sure that you are practicing each of these steps before moving on to the next step. And then when you feel like you've got a good handle on it, then move on to the next step. Next step in the right hand is to actually start moving our hands around. So I want you to start thinking of your number 1 finger or your thumb as the chord. So let's just look at our number 1 finger and move our hands around according to each of the chords. So our first chord was an A. So our 1 finger goes on an A. The second chord is a D, so we're moving down and hitting a D. The next one is an F sharp, so 1 finger on an F sharp. The next chord is an E, 1 finger on E, then to a D, and then to an A. So you feel how your thumb is the anchor moving around to each of those chords. So what I want you to start thinking of is when your thumb moved, of course, the rest of your hand moved along with it. And so now that you understand the anchor of the thumb, we're going to now put our hands in a 5-finger position according to the scale that we started with. And let me show you what I mean. So for the 1 chord, we already started in that 1 position. Right? So then for our second chord, our D, we're going to move our anchor thumb down to a D, but then position the rest of your hands to the other notes of the scale. So this one now becomes D, E, F sharp, G sharp, A. Okay? I know that sounds a little funny, but stick with me. Our next one is an F sharp minor. We're going along the scale, so the one finger goes to the F sharp, okay? And we have F sharp, G sharp, A, B, C sharp. And then we go to an E. So we have E, F sharp, G sharp, A, B. Then we go to a D, D, E, F sharp, G sharp, A, and then we're back to our A. Okay, so now that you understand how our hand is moving, this is the special 4-note pattern. We're going to think of your number 4 finger or your ring finger on your right hand side as a finger that never plays. So our pattern is going to be 1, 2, 3, 5, and then we can come back down. This is the forbidden note that never plays. Okay, so now we're going to do the same thing that we just did, but we're going to leave out that number 4 finger because it's forbidden for this exercise. All right, so we have our A again. 1, 2, 3, 5, and let's come back down. Now let's go to our D. Our one finger is the hinge that goes to D. 1, 2, 3, 5, 3, 2, 1. To our F sharp. F sharp, G sharp, A, C sharp. Then to E. And then to D one more time. And then to A. Now, the cool thing is that when you play 1, 2, 3, and 5 for any of these chords, if you play any of those notes together also, it's going to sound great. So I'm going to play them all at the same time so that you can hear it. So instead of playing them individually, we're going to now play them together. Do you hear that? That sounds absolutely beautiful because it's got some tension in there, but they all work together. And then let's go to the D. F sharp, E, D, Isn't that absolutely beautiful already? It's giving kind of an under the sea quality to it. It reminds me of The Little Mermaid. So we're going to now that we understand what our 4-note pattern is in our right hand, with our thumb as the anchor for each one of those chords, we're going to now finally put it together with our right hand pattern. For right now, let's just play the left hand all together. All right, let's give this a try. This is a more advanced section where we're now going to take that pattern that we've learned and we can now expand it for the entire octave. In fact, I'm going to give you this octave. This is middle C here. We'll do from A to A here and from A to A here. So we have a 2-octave range that we can play between. And any of those chords can be played like we just did, but we're going to add some other notes in there at the same time. The way that I'm choosing these notes are simply using any other notes in the scale. So if you remember your scale, okay, any of the notes are available to you in the scale in between the pattern of the different chords that we've done. With our left hand, we're going to now start the arpeggiation process and kind of filling in the sound with our rhythm. So our new improvisation can sound something like this. Let's make a beautiful song.
Let me know in the comments below if this is a chord progression that you're going to try, and let me know how it's going. If there's something that you'd like me to dive a little bit deeper into, let me know, and I would love to consider doing that. If you're ready to continue learning to play in the key of A major, check out this video that is linked in the description box below. It has another great chord progression with only 3 chords in your left hand. So it's going to be a great one for learning the key of A major. I hope you continue on in your journey of making beautiful music every single time you sit down at the piano. Keep practicing, and until then, I'll see you in your next video.